between the right and the left lung is that the heart is on the left side. On the left side, there is heart also. And that is why on the left side, the lung will show a notch, a cardiac notch. Okay. Uh, the right lung therefore will be slightly heavier than the left lung. Okay. The right lung weighs 700 grams. 700 grams. Okay. While the left lung will weigh around 600 to 650 grams, because some amount of lung tissue is less because of presence of heart on the left side. Lungs are actually in young, uh, in a newborn, it is almost pink. Then it slowly becomes brown. Okay, in a newborn, it is pink, and slowly in young subjects it becomes brown, gray. Okay, brown, gray, and then that because of the deposition of carbon, it becomes what is called as the mottled black color. Mottled black color. So what is the shape of the lung? The shape of the lung is conical. Lung is conical in shape. And what are its parts? Now I am drawing the two lungs. This is the right lung. And this is the left lung. But whenever we draw the left lung, we draw a notch like this. So here will be the heart. Okay, this portion. So this is how the left lung will look like. Now, what are the parts of the lung? The lung has a apex. So this part of the lung is called as apex, and this part is called as base. I am just orienting you to the parts of the lung. Then this apex will be, of course, lying slightly above the clavicle, slightly above the clavicle. Then this surface, here will be the ribs, right? Therefore, this surface will be called as costal surface. This surface is called as costal surface. Then the base will not be flat. The base will be arched like this. Base will be in relation to diaphragm. Base will be in relation to diaphragm. Okay. So this is costal surface. And on the inner side here will be the mediastinal surface. Mediastinal surface. So there will be mediastinal surface on both. Now this border of the lung, okay, is called as anterior border. Is called as anterior. And this border here is called as inferior border. We'll draw a diagram again. Right now, I'm just giving you orientation to the various parts of the lung. Okay. There is anterior border, inferior border, and there is posterior border. So when it comes to the lung will have following parts. One, apex. Two, base. Apex, base. Three borders. Anterior border, which is sharp. Inferior border and posterior border. And posterior border. And this posterior border is rounded. So apex, base, three borders and two surfaces. What are the two surfaces? Costal surface and mediastinal surface. Costal surface and medial surface. Okay. This medial surface is divided into anterior mediastinal surface, and posterior vertebral surface. Okay, so again I'll repeat: a lung will have a apex. Apex will go slightly above the clavicle, and first rib. Base is arched and is in relation with diaphragm. Borders are three: anterior border, which is sharp; posterior border, which is rounded; and inferior border. So three borders and two surfaces. What are the two surfaces? Costal surface, which is in relation to ribs, and medial surface. Medial surface is further divided into mediastinal surface and posterior surface, is called as vertebral surface, which is vertebral surface. Now, let us see the fissures of the lung. When we look from the front, this is the trachea, and the trachea divides, and then here are the two lungs. Okay. So each lung, both the lungs have a fissure called as oblique fissure. It runs oblique. But right lung additional has a fissure which is called as horizontal fissure. So this oblique fissure is there on both the lungs. Oblique fissure. And this is horizontal fissure. So that divides the lung into three lobes. Okay, this is the superior lobe, middle lobe, and inferior. Even on the left side, this is the right lung. Although there is only one fissure, still there is superior lobe, middle lobe, and inferior. Superior lobe, middle lobe, and inferior. So there are three lobes. So this principal bronchus will divide, okay, separately for three lobes: superior lobe, middle lobe, and inferior. Yeah. So this is the primary bronchus, then this is the secondary bronchus, and inside it will again further divide into three in the superior lobe, which is called as, these are called as tertiary bronchus. So this tertiary bronchus is the one which supplies the bronchopulmonary segments. That means, firstly, there is right and left principal bronchus, which supplies each of the lung. Then there are lobar bronchus, which supplies lobe, or also called as secondary. And each lobar bronchus divides into 2 to 3, or even in the lower part, almost 5 tertiary bronchus. These tertiary bronchi supply the bronchopulmonary segment. That means primary bronchus supplies the lung, secondary bronchus supplies the lobes, and tertiary bronchus, which arise from the secondary bronchus, supply the bronchopulmonary segment. It supplies the bronchopulmonary segment. Okay. Now, let us, in the previous diagrams, in the previous diagram here, we studied mostly the costal surface. Now we will be studying how the medial surface looks like, how the medial surface of the lung looks like. Now I am drawing the medial surface of the lung for the right side, for the right side. So on the medial surface, one thing which we get is hilum. Right? And as we have already discussed, the medial surface has an anterior part, this part, anterior part, which is called as mediastinal surface, and the posterior part, which is called as the vertebral part. Posterior part is called as vertebral. So this is medial surface which I have drawn, which are anterior mediastinal and posterior vertebral component. Okay? And here is the hilum of the lung. Now, what impressions do we see? What impressions do we see on the right side? Firstly, let me tell you, both on the right and left side, we see the trachea and then we see the esophagus. But on the right side, what we see mainly is SVC, impression of the superior vena cava. Lower down, we see the impression of inferior. And going into this is the azygous vein. Azygous. 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 So this, and of course, here will be the impression for the right atrium. Okay. Right atrium. Here will be the impression for the ascending aorta. So mainly the right atrium. Right. Now, in contrast to this, when you see the left side lung, when we see the left side lung, this is the posterior part, okay, and then this is the cardiac notch, this is the anterior wall. Again, this what we are drawing is medial surface, which will have anterior mediastinal and posterior vertebral part, and here will be the hilum of the lung, the hilum of the lung. So as I said, on both the sides there will be trachea and esophagus. On the right side, what we had seen is SVC. On the left side, what we see, this is anterior, this is posterior. We see the arch of aorta. On the right side, it was arch of azygos. This is the arch of aorta. Okay, arch of aorta. And here is the impression for left ventricle. Left ventricle. Otherwise, there will be phrenic nerve going anteriorly and vagus nerve going posteriorly. That is there on both the sides. So what you have to remember mainly is when we talk about the right lung, trachea esophagus impression will be there. There will be SVC and there will be arch of azygous vein. What is this? Arch of azygous vein. And here will be the impression of right atrium. Right atrium. While in the left side, there is impression of left ventricle. And trachea esophagus is there. Anterior, this is the anterior side. Trachea then esophagus. What we see is arch of aorta. What we see is arch of aorta. Now we come to another concept, and that is what is the root of the lung. What is the root of the lung? The root of the lung, it contains the structures coming in and going out of the lung. So mainly the principal bronchus. It will contain mainly the principal bronchus. There will be a pulmonary artery. There will be two pulmonary veins. Okay, there will be the bronchial arteries going. All this will enter through the hilum. All this will be entering through the hilum. So the structures which enter to the hilum is called as the root of the lung. Root of the lung. These are the main structures. Principal bronchi, pulmonary artery, one pulmonary artery, two pulmonary veins, the bronchial artery, okay, bronchial veins. Then there are there's nerves and other structures. There are nerves, there are lymphatics. Okay. Now let us see another important concept, and that is what how are the structures arranged in the root? How are the structures arranged in the root of the lung? So this is the root of the right, and this is the root of the left lung, the hilum, basically hilum. To this hilum, the structures will be entering. To this hilum, the structure will be entering. Now consider this as anterior side and this as posterior side. On both the right and left side, the anterior most structure is always the pulmonary vein, and inferior most structure is always the pulmonary vein. There are two pulmonary veins in each of the hilum. Anterior most structure is always pulmonary vein, inferior is always pulmonary. Then is artery. Then is bronchus. Okay. Hmm? Now this is just to tell you the orientation from the anterior to posterior side. Orientation from anterior to posterior side is vein, artery, bronchus. Vein, artery, bronchus. Vein, artery, bronchus. Anterior to posterior side. Vein, artery, bronchus. Now they are not in a straight line. So then now I'm going to draw a second diagram. Just to tell you that because they are not in a straight line, how is the arrangement? So again, anterior most vein, inferior most vein. Okay. Then artery. Then artery. And bronchus is slightly low. And bronchus is slightly low. So now let us go anterior to posterior. Vein, artery, bronchus. Vein, artery, bronchus. Now what is the relation? So anterior to posterior, we said anterior to posterior, vein, artery, bronchus. In the hilum, this is how the relation is. Vein is most anterior, bronchus is most posterior. But then we said the arrangement is slightly, bronchus is slightly below. So vein, artery, bronchus, vein, artery. Now what is the relation of the structures from superior to inferior? Superior to inferior. Superior to inferior, it is artery, bronchus, vein. See here, artery, bronchus, vein. Artery, bronchus, artery, bronchus, vein. Now what happens? This is on the left side. What happens on the right side? There is eparterial and hyparterial bronchus. On the right side, there are two bronchi, eparterial and hyparterial. So right side, superior to inferior, right side, superior to inferior, the relation is bronchus artery, bronchus vein, bronchus artery, bronchus vein. Okay, so superior to inferior, the relation on the left side is artery, bronchus vein, and the left side is artery, bronchus vein, and on the right side is bronchus artery, bronchus vein, bronchus artery, bronchus vein. Anterior to posterior on both the side, it is vein, artery, bronch, vein, artery, bronch. Okay, but superior to inferior, it is vein, superior to inferior, artery, bronchus, vein. So anterior to posterior is vein, artery, bronchus. Superior to inferior is artery, bronchus, vein. Vein, artery, bronchus, anterior to posterior, superior to inferior, artery, bronchus, vein. But on the right side, because there is a eparterial bronchus and hyparterial bronchus, instead of saying artery, bronchus, vein, we say bronchus, artery, bronchus, vein on the right side. Okay. Now let us see the relations. Relations in this root. What are the relations? Okay. In this root of the lung, anteriorly on the right side and on the left side. Anteriorly is phrenic nerve, both the sides. Posteriorly, vagus nerve. Posteriorly, vagus nerve. And on the left side, there is also descending aorta. Descending aorta. On the superior aspect, on the right side, let us again see the diagram. What is there on the right side? On the right side is arch of azygous vein. And what is there on the left side? Arch of aorta. Arch of aorta. So when we are writing the relations, superior relation, right side, there is arch of azygous vein. While superiorly on the left side is arch of aorta. That means there are arches superiorly. On the right side, arch of azygous vein. On the left side, arch of aorta. Inferiorly is pulmonary ligament. Inferiorly is pulmonary ligament. Okay. With that, we come to the another most important topic, and that is the bronchopulmonary segments. Each, the right and the left lung, has 10 bronchopulmonary segments. Has 10 bronchopulmonary segments. Both the sides, there are 10 bronchopulmonary segments. So what are these bronchopulmonary segments? They are aerated by the tertiary bronchus. So primary bronchus aerates the lung, lobe, secondary bronchus aerates the lobe, and tertiary bronchus aerates the bronchopulmonary segment. Aerates the bronchopulmonary segment. Now let us see what are these 10 bronchopulmonary segments on each side. Now what I am doing is I am drawing the bronchopulmonary segment of the right side. The bronchopulmonary segment of the right side is like this, and bronchopulmonary segment of the left side is like this. Okay, bronchopulmonary. Now this is the oblique fissure. This is the oblique fissure on both the sides. Oblique fissure on both the sides. And then this is the horizontal fissure. On this side, there is no horizontal fissure, so I am drawing a dotted line. I am drawing a dotted line. So now what we get basically, this is the right lung and this is the left. So you should understand there are three bronchopulmonary segments in the upper lobe, two in the middle lobe, both the sides, and five in the lower lobe. Five in the lower. So what we have to do is draw a Y like this. Y. To understand the bronchopulmonary segments of the right and the left lung. So in the superior lobe, there are three bronchopulmonary segments. What are they? And the apical, anterior, posterior. Apical, anterior, posterior. Apical, anterior. Now, what are the bronchopulmonary segments in the middle lobe? On the right side, it is medial and lateral. It is medial and lateral. But on the left side, there is no medial lateral. Instead, there are two lobes. Instead of medial lateral, there is superior lingular and inferior lingular. Superior lingular and inferior lingular. So bronchopulmonary segments on the upper lobe are apical anterior posterior. Apical anterior posterior. Bronchopulmonary segment in the middle lobe for the right lobe is medial and lateral. Bronchopulmonary segment for the middle lobe of the left lung is superior lingular and inferior. Now, we are going to study the bronchopulmonary segments of the inferior lobe. On the inferior lobe, again there is one more apical. This is apical. And then there are these lobes apart from apical. Then there are this lobe called as anterior basal, lateral basal, posterior basal. Apical, then anterior basal, then lateral basal, and posterior basal. Now, medial basal we are not able to show. Medial basal we are not able to show. Okay, medial basal we are not able to show. So there are total 10 bronchopulmonary segments. Each of them is aerated by a tertiary bronchus. Each of them is aerated by a tertiary bronchus. If you see a bronchopulmonary segment, like for example, this is one segment, wall of one segment, this is wall of other segment. So a tertiary bronchus will go inside. It will be accompanied by a, this is the bronchus, it will be accompanied by a bronchial artery, it will be accompanied by a pulmonary artery. But pulmonary veins, they run in the walls of the bronchopulmonary segment. And that is the reason we cannot call it bronchovascular segment. When can we call it bronchovascular segment? If it had a separate vein. It doesn't have a separate vein because veins run in the walls. Okay, so this is one segment. This is one bronchopulmonary segment aerated by a tertiary bronchus. It has its bronchial vein and bronchial artery and pulmonary artery, but it doesn't have a pulmonary vein. The veins, they run in the walls. Therefore, we cannot call it bronchovascular segment. So friends, previously, when we didn't know that the lung has lobes, this now I'm talking about the applied anatomy of the lung. Previously, when we didn't know that the lung had lobe, if one of the lung had tuberculosis, we used to remove the lung. Okay, pneumonectomy. That was, then we came to know with discovery of anatomy that lung has three lobes. So then surgeons started doing lobectomy. They started removing the lobe. Now we have come to know that each lung is made up of 10 bronchopulmonary segments. So now what we do is we do the segmental resection. Only suppose posterior part of posterior segment of the upper lobe, posterior bronchopulmonary segment of the upper lobe is infected, we'll just remove that much part. So that is called as segmental resection. Now, when we talk about the blood supply of the lung, okay, the blood supply of the lung is of course by there are we talk about the pulmonary arteries, but they get the deoxygenated blood, so we cannot count it. So it's the bronchial arteries. It's the bronchial arteries which constitute the blood supply of the lung. Bronchial arteries which constitute the which give the blood supply of the lung on the right side and on the left side. Okay. So what happens is that the left side there are two bronchial arteries. Left side there are two bronchial arteries which arise from descending thoracic aorta. They arise from descending thoracic aorta. While the right side there is no aorta. So it may arise from upper left. The right bronchial artery may arise from upper left, or it may arise from upper left, or it will take origin from third posterior intercostal artery. Third posterior intercostal artery. Okay. The venous drainage is by the bronchial vein. The venous drainage is by the bronchial vein, and of course, greater part is by the. We cannot say that arterial supply there is bronchial arteries and there is pulmonary arteries, but because it carries deoxygenated blood, we don't count upon it. When it comes to venous drainage, there are again bronchial veins. There will be bronchial veins, and also there will be, along with bronchial veins, there will be pulmonary veins. Okay, but pulmonary veins carry the oxygenated blood, so we again don't count upon that. Now, what is the development? What is the development of the lung? The lungs, they develop from foregut. Lungs, they develop from foregut. That means suppose this is the esophagus, okay? Inside the trachea, there develops a laryngotracheal groove, laryngotracheal groove. And from that laryngotracheal groove, a laryngotracheal diverticulum comes down. This diverticulum, when you look from the anterior aspect, this diverticulum then divides into right and the left lobe. And then here the lung develops. Here the lung buds they come and then they develop. So it develops from foregut, from laryngotracheal groove. There is a laryngotracheal diverticulum. This diverticulum goes and divides into the right and the left bronchi, and then there are lung buds. These lung buds they develop into lungs. Okay, there are four stages. There are four stages in development of the lung. Their names are like pseudoglandular phase, okay, pseudoglandular phase, canalicular phase, then the terminal sac period, alveolar phase. Okay, so why I am telling you this is terminal phase grossly is up to the birth, and alveolar phase is up to 8 years of birth, 8 years after birth. So that means the lung at birth has only 50,000, has only 50 million, 50 million alveoli, 50 million alveoli, and after 8 years in adults there are 300 million alveoli. That means the development of the lungs, they continue after birth also. Okay, they continue after birth. Grossly, it's the pseudoglandular stage where the lung looks like a gland is from 5th to 17th week. The canalicular phase is 16th to 25th week. Terminal sac period is 24 till birth. Okay, 24th week till birth, and alveolar phase is from birth till 8 years after birth. Okay, so lung develop from the foregut, and from the laryngotracheal groove, there develops a diverticulum which goes down, and as it goes down, it uh, invaginates the pericardioperitoneal canals, which form the pleura, which forms the pleura. As regards the histology of the lung, which is also asked along with the as a long question, we have to firstly write it has a respiratory epithelium. It has respiratory epithelium, that is pseudostratified ciliated columna in the upper respiratory tract. There are histology of the upper respiratory tract where we see the pseudostratified ciliated columnar cells. Then there is hyaline cartilage, non-articular hyaline cartilage in all the bronchi. Whenever there is no cartilage, that is called as bronchiole. Bronchiole is less than 1 millimeter. Bronchiole is less than 1 millimeter, and it has no cartilage, no cartilage. And when we go lower down into the lung, in the lower part of the lung, we see type 2, type 1 cells and type 2 cells. These are all flat cells. Okay, type 2 contains surfactant. The type 2 will contain surfactant, and type 1 will be squamous cells. These will be the squamous cells which will be responsible for exchange of gases. So in the upper tract, there will be respiratory epithelium, pseudostratified ciliated columnar. There, along with that, there will be like glandular mucus cells, there will be brush cells, and there will be enterochromophane cells which secrete locally acting hormones. So this is how these are all the contents of the respiratory epithelium, and in the lower part there are type 1 pneumocytes which are squamous, type 2 which are contain surfactant, and then